Taylon Green back for another year as the Razorbacks starting quarterback in Arkansas is going to have a pretty solid season this year. It's not going to be an easy schedule in the SEC. It never really is, but the Razorbacks are set up pretty well, I think, to make a push for a bowl game this season. And part of that is the fact that they don't have to play two games to start the season against anybody relevant. Alabama A&M and Arkansas State will both be wins before their first SEC game on the road against Ole Miss.
And the Rebels are going to be an interesting team next season. Jackson Dart, after being a major contributor to this program, has finally gone and off to the NFL. It is Austin Simmons' time to shine as the starting quarterback. And while he was part of the team last year, played in a limited capacity, still showed some signs and some flashes as being a really good quarterback in the future. It's really going to come down to, can the weapons surrounding him step it up after so many key players have left. The defense has also lost a couple players, but this is a home game. The Razorbacks have lost a good portion of their team as well, particularly on offense. Taylon Green has a brand new wide receiver room, three new starters on his offensive line. The defense has lost a couple people, but most of the starters are either returning from last season or were at the program and now filling in those spots. So Arkansas can make this close, especially in Austin Simmons' first real test in SEC play. But the home field advantage will carry the most weight here. The Rebels will beat Arkansas here, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Razorbacks could pull off an upset here. But for right now, Ole Miss gets the win.
Then it's a road trip to Memphis. This one's not actually going to be that easy considering it's a non-conference game. Memphis is one of the favorites to make the college football playoffs out of the group of five. There's some other challengers that have a better chance than them, but the Tigers definitely up there as one of the better group of five teams. I think that they have a chance to make this one a little bit close with Arkansas, but realistically, the Razorbacks should be the more talented team here and should get this win to move into 3-1 before an incredibly difficult matchup with the national championship runner-ups last year in the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. CJ Carr likely going to be the starting quarterback after Riley Leonard has moved on to the NFL. And they are returning running back Jeremiah Love, who's one of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy that is not a quarterback. I think that Notre Dame is going to be a really solid team once again this year. Defense looking pretty solid as well. They're just way better than Arkansas. Razorbacks will drop this one at home and drop 2-3-2.
The bye week after the Notre Dame game to prepare for a tough road trip to Neyland Stadium to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. But Tennessee is going to be in a weird situation next year. Nico Iamaleava is now a UCLA Bruin after wanting to be compensated more in his NIL deal at Tennessee and ultimately transferred. They bring in Joey Aguilar to be the starting quarterback from UCLA, who is solid, but I don't know how good this Tennessee offense can be with him as the quarterback, given how much they have already lost. The wide receiver room has taken a hit with players moving on to the NFL. Dylan Sampson, their starting running back, is now in the NFL as well. And then defensively, James Pierce Jr. was a big focal point of their defense, and he is also now in the NFL. Tennessee still has a lot of potential. They have one of the best coaching staffs in the country. But I do think after losing last year to Arkansas on the road, they might have a better chance here at home, but this Arkansas team might actually be pretty comparable, and they have the better quarterback in this case with Taylon Green. He's more athletic, he's more experienced in this program. I think Arkansas can go back-to-back years beating the Volunteers, even if it is at Neyland Stadium. Razorbacks get a huge upset win before taking on Texas A&M the following week at home. And A&M has Marcel Reed returning as their starting quarterback after he took over for Connor Weigman towards the beginning of the season. And in year two, I think Marcel Reed has a lot of potential to really become one of the better starting quarterbacks in college football. I think the weapons around him are pretty solid. And even though they have lost a good amount on the defensive side, especially on the D line, I think there is still a lot of potential. They can develop their young guys to replace those stars that they lost. I think Texas A&M has a really good chance of going and getting this win on the road here. Once again, could be a little bit closer than some people anticipate just because Taylor Green has such a good dual threat capability. But Texas A&M overall should be the better team, and I think Marcel Reed is just slightly better than Taylor Green.
And then it's Auburn, Jackson Arnold transferring from Oklahoma to be the Tigers starting quarterback. And I think Auburn is getting a lot of hype for this offseason that they might not actually be able to live up to. That's not to say they won't be better than they were last season. I think that's definitely true, but I don't think they're going to compete for an SEC championship or a college football playoff berth or anything crazy like that. Auburn still got some work to do in order to rebuild as one of the top teams in the country. For now, maybe borderline top 25. This one's not going to be an easy game for Arkansas whatsoever. I think that talent-wise, the teams are pretty comparable. It's a 50-50 split percentage-wise, as you can see there, which means Auburn's just a little bit more talented all around. They do not have the home field advantage, so keeping it at 50-50 means that they're a little bit better because they have the talent to negate the home field advantage. I think that in this case, the Tigers are just a little bit better. And with all of the outside pressure, they're going to need to win games like this where they are maybe just slight favorites. I think that the Tigers will get it done there. And then Mississippi State, the worst team in the SEC last year, probably going to be the same this year. Not too much to say about Mississippi State. I think Arkansas is a significantly better team, and this will move them to 5-4, leaving them needing just one win to make a bowl game. But the schedule the rest of the way is not going to be easy.
Especially coming off that bye week. They have back-to-back road trips against some of the best teams, not only in the SEC, but in the country. Kicking it off with LSU going to Death Valley, and LSU is shaping up to be one of the best teams in the country and probably an early pick for a lot of people for a national championship. Garrett Nussmeier back as the starting quarterback for the Tigers along with absolutely stacked weapons both in the running back room and in the wide receiver room. This defense is going to be what makes or breaks this LSU season, but all reports have indicated that LSU has stepped it up, whether it was through their acquisitions in the transfer portal or through the players they already have at the program. Mansour Delane is one of the big assets they got in the transfer portal, a key player in the secondary that is coming in from Virginia Tech after Virginia Tech had a pretty underrated secondary. Not to mention that plenty other players on this LSU defense that were already at the program had great seasons last year and are shaping up to have even better seasons this year. I really don't know how Arkansas would be able to pull off an upset against such a loaded LSU team, especially on the road. This is going to drop them to 5-5, and it doesn't get much easier the following week against Texas. Texas is probably the early favorite to win the college football championship. Arch Manning stepping up to be the starting quarterback after Quinn Ewers left to the NFL. And Arch Manning does have some starting experience. He played while Quinn Ewers was injured in some of their early non-conference games, but it really will come down to can he deliver against the best teams. And we'll see that very early on when Texas has to go on the road to play Ohio State. If Arch Manning is everything that people are saying he is, then this Texas team is going to be dangerous. And I don't see how they will end up losing any of the games. The defense is absolutely insane. Steve Sarkisian is building a monster team, and with the amount of returning production they have and the amount of players they have coming in through the transfer portal or through recruiting, I don't see how Texas is going to get any worse than they were last season, which means we will see them in the college football playoffs. Maybe this year they can finally get over the hump and beat Georgia and win the SEC. You'll have to stick around towards the end of this prediction video series to see how that stacks up. But against Arkansas, Texas is just the superior team in every single way. So this drops Arkansas to 5-6 in danger of missing out on a bowl game despite having 5 wins going into this last stretch of games. It comes down to a game against Missouri.
And the Tigers are an interesting team this year. They have a really solid transfer portal class. They brought in Penn State's backup quarterback from last season in Bo Prabula. it's going to be difficult for him, I think, to adapt to, a starting role moving to the SEC as well. By the end of the season, he should be playing pretty well, but Missouri all around, it's just, I think they were overrated last season. And this year, I do think that they're due for a bit of a drop off. Arkansas has a really good chance in this game. And while I do think it's going to be really close, personally, I'm going to lean with the dual threat guy and the guy in the Razorbacks uniform in Talon Green to carry his team to a really close win. But also with bowl eligibility on the line, that just puts a little bit more on it for Arkansas. I think they're able to get it done and get to 6-6. Now, our way too early projection video, we had the Razorbacks with 6.15 projected wins and going 6-6 there as well. The prediction stayed the same. The projection to 6.15 wins, 3.15, and 4.85 in SEC play. The floor for the Razorbacks is missing a bowl game. The schedule's not very easy. They could possibly go 4-8, winning only one game in the SEC. The very best case scenario is, I think, 8-4 for Arkansas. There's a lot of games on here that really could go either way that we do think they have a chance to win, but in the end, we have them at 6-6. I think 8-4 is probably more likely than 4-8, but for right now, we're going to keep Arkansas at 500. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.